The opinions expressed by the guests on this podcast are not necessarily those of the hosts or the producers of this show.
It's your girl, Renee Graziano, and welcome back to another fun and fabulous episode of the Crisis Queen Podcast. I am the Crisis Queen, and today I have a very dear friend, Uldouz. We are here. I love your name because when I asked you, am I pronouncing her? And you were like, oodles of noodles. And I was just like, yes. Everybody loves oodles of noodles.
Right? Noodles.
Noodles. This is my girl, Noodles.
That's right.
So thank you for coming today. And I really want to shed a light on your situation, getting laws passed, protecting women, and saving us from the predators that are out there that are trying to destroy good women like ourselves. So the floor is yours. Let everybody know who you are and what you've done to accomplish all you have.
Well, thank you, first of all, for having me. And I love you. You're amazing. I always watch you, and I'm like, oh, my God, she's awesome. I love your little dances and talking about domestic violence, which is so important nowadays, especially. And that brings us back to the stuff that happened to me. So in 2014, I was one of the victims of the iCloud hack leak. So within this, list of people, there were all these celebrities like Jennifer Lawrence, Kate Upton, all these big name A-list movie stars and stuff like that. And then me, I was just like coming up, and I was about to take off. I had a lot of followers on social media. I had some acting and, modeling, print modeling, like under my belt. And I felt like sky was the limit, like everything was going great, right? And right at the peak, I get thrown into this iCloud hack leak situation, right? And when I first found out about the list, I was kind of like, oh, no big deal. I know that I didn't really take pictures that were like bad, and they were similar to like modeling shoots, so I didn't really care if they would have gotten leaked or anything like that. But I wasn't thinking about the relationship that I had 2 years prior, that my ex-boyfriend secretly like recorded me and also took a couple pictures and sent it to me as a threat, like, hey, if you don't answer my calls, I'm gonna leak these, right? So that went into iMessage, and when I got hacked, the iMessage obviously also got hacked, and I wasn't even remembering the fact that he sent me those, right?
Right.
So the list came out first, and everybody was blowing me up. They're like, are you worried about the list? And I was like, oh, no, I'm not really worried. I know I haven't really done anything, right?
Right.
And then the list, goes out, but then the actual leak happens. And that's when I realized, oh my God, like these are the same pictures and the one video that he sent and threatened me with, right?
Right.
And when I realized that, and it was already out, everybody was watching it and seeing it, and my heart just dropped. And it was literally like one of the most traumatic things that have ever happened to me.
So how did that leak actually leak? Like, how did that? So it was an iPhone. Okay, because I'm new to the iPhone. Like
no,
6
it's a
months.
lie. Yeah.
So I'm not that sure how it all works. So explain.
So when the iCloud happened, it was in the beginning of iCloud stages, first of all. So they didn't even have a lot of security at that point, and nobody really understood what the hell the iCloud was at that time. Right. It was 2014. It was
so an iCloud just saves all of your information. Is that what it is? Okay.
So
then I will be erasing everything.
Yeah, don't use iCloud.
Okay.
So iCloud is supposed to be for you not losing your pictures or your contacts or any of your data on your phone, right?
Right.
So when they told me about this, I was like, yeah, of course. I don't want to lose my pictures. I want to have them, and
Oh, so you mean this is your backup when they says it on the phone? Oh, I don't have that, so I'm glad.
Yeah. So iCloud leaves you more open, for hackers. But they have way more security now than they did before, right? I mean, at that time, people didn't really know how the cloud worked.
Right.
There were no two-step authentication on anything.
Right.
So there was a lot of issues with that. But so when that happened, like I said, it went into iMessage, it gets stored in the iCloud, and obviously the hacker gets a hold of it. He leaks it to the internet, and everybody's lives get destroyed, like, that were on this list. Obviously, the people that are like more in the public eye, it was hard for them as well. And Jennifer Lawrence, for instance, she mentioned it a lot publicly, how this was so disgusting that, press and media just looked at this as a scandal, and it wasn't a scandal. It was literally like we got violated,
Absolutely. That is a violation.
Yeah.
Your private life is being exposed. That's violation.
And not only that, it's just the most intimate parts of your life that
Correct.
you never agreed to display.
Well, in your case, you never agreed for somebody to take pictures
even
or
that
video.
part. Exactly. So like then it came into the parts of like the victim blaming, shaming, like, oh, you shouldn't have taken those. And even if you didn't, like this stuff still happens today with deep fakes and, hidden cams and all of these other situations.
Now it's really scary. The world, you just saw that about I think it was American Airlines, the little girl in the bathroom.
No, I haven't seen it. Oh, you know what? There was a guy with the flash or something.
No, it was the man that worked on the plane. One of the stewards was filming the child, and the American Airlines said they should expect to be taped if they're on a flight.
What?
Yeah, it was all over. American Airlines, now they retracted everything.
Yeah, of course.
But God, I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that just came up.
It's just, it's so crazy to me that in 2024, we're still figuring out a way to blame the victims,
Yep.
And just take responsibility for it, and even... I think even victims, they like think of the situation and they're like, what did I do wrong? And they try to backtrack. They figure out all the ways and they start working on themselves. But what about all the predators and all these people that are doing it, people that are watching it? Like, why are you enjoying watching somebody getting violated. In the first place, right?
Right.
It's really sick. Like,
it's very sick.
Yeah. So anyway, so basically that happened to me, and all of the stuff, the backlash that came after that was the worst. The leak, obviously, itself was very traumatic. But unfortunately, right after that happened, all of the, influencers, actresses, actors, anyone that I kind of knew at that point, they all turned on me. They start using this as a tool to like bully me and push me out of the way.
Why?
I mean, they were mean. They were evil people. Like,
so the people that are getting violated are trying now to be mean to you, or are you talking about the opposite?
The
side?
opposite. So these were people that I was doing like comedy videos with, or like actors, like people that I just knew.
Right.
And obviously these weren't people that were like at the top then, but they were like influencers from like Vine and the people that are still trying to come up.
Still trying. Get that. Still trying.
So with that being said, they did everything in their power to bully me, try to off myself. One of the guys told me the day after, he's like, I'm surprised you haven't tried to kill yourself yet. And this is the day.
Terrible.
Yeah, like the day after. And he's like a known actor. Like, you're just like, why are you sending me stuff like this the day after?
What is wrong with somebody to even say, why don't you go kill yourself?
Yeah.
That should be a crime, because that's how people get bullied and they end up doing it.
Exactly. And that's exactly what's going on with these young teenage boys and girls that are committing suicide, unfortunately. So so that was some of the experiences, but then they would go out of their way, like reach out to brands and tell brands and other influencers, other people, don't work with her because she's secretly doing porn and, she's doing this, she's doing that. Terrible, right? So the stuff that happened after that was the brands started canceling me. They started saying, oh, we don't want to associate with you and your brand, because, this thing is out. Right. And at that point, they were like now, people have more empathy for stuff like that. Right. But at that time, they didn't. Yeah. They didn't have any empathy.
Right. Until it happened to them. And then they wanted everybody to have empathy for them.
Yeah. That's exactly how it always happens. So that happened. And then the agents, the managers, the list goes on. And everybody started turning and treating me like the bad guy. Right. And I was just sitting there and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to isolate myself and just keep my head down and collab with a couple people that I know and just keep working. So I was doing that and I was still going viral, like everywhere, right? But all of the comments, everything would be always like
The
going
negative
back
side,
to that, right? So it was like that for years. And then I just kind of, the more the years went by, I started thinking to myself, well, it's been what, like 7 years now?
Right.
Or 8 years. It was actually 8 years that I was like, 7, 8 years. I started doing like short film, and then the short film, I was like, this is my way of kind of sharing my story, but it's a little fiction, it's a little truth.
Right.
But I think maybe if I get in the short film circuit and with the directors and the people in entertainment, they starting to open up to this idea of, how damaging this is, right?
Right.
So I did something like that, and it did really good. It got like 20 awards or something like that.
Congratulations.
Thanks. But like, it was funny because the first award, I was like, oh my God, I start crying. My first award, this is amazing. Then after like the fourth or fifth, I'm like, throw it in the pot.
Well, you're blessed that you did, that your story was that impactful.
Yeah.
That you were able to help other women and men that, were involved in being bullied.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the thing is, I think I thought it would have more of an impact with the story-wise at that time, right?
Right.
But it was more of a thing like... It was more of a confirmation, I think, for myself, because I didn't, like, first I thought like, okay, the award's gonna mean all this, and I'm gonna get, recognition for how traumatic it was, or, to be able to change and blah, 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 right? And then I realized, well, the awards don't really mean anything. And did it really affect people? Yeah, maybe it helped some, but it needs to go on a bigger scale. Like, it's not enough, Right. Like, there's people still like committed suicide and like really, harmful experiences that are happening, right? So then I'm like, okay, there's no laws against this, and nobody's really doing anything about it. So what do we do to fix it, right? So I was like, okay, I'm going to share my story. I'm going to come out and share my personal story to everyone. And after that, I'm going to try to change the laws, right? Mm-hmm. So I shared my story on my own podcast. And then right after that, I said that I want to try to change the law. And this one rep from Massachusetts reached out to me. And he said, hey, this happened to my wife too. And
wow.
Yeah, and I would love to help you. Like, let's write a sample bill together, right?
Okay.
So we started writing a sample bill, and then along the way, it went really quickly. But then I testified at Capitol Hill, and I started working with like different nonprofits, and I gave one of the nonprofits the sample bill. They had another bill also prior to this, and we put those together, sent it to Senator Mike Lee. And Mike Lee, basically, he's like a lawyer. He's amazing. So he took all the good stuff like that needed to be added and put it into the PROTECT Act, right?
Okay.
So now there's a bill called the PROTECT Act that was introduced federally twice now.
Wow.
And there's several states that introduced the PROTECT Act. And then also recently, the PROTECT Act got introduced to the House of Representatives. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I know I was going through something with a guy, and he was threatening to show my son these pictures, and I called you right away like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Because I know what I want to do, I'm going to go to jail for.
Yeah.
But instead of me going to jail, somebody that's trying to destroy my life deserves, and I'm not a big, I want to put you in jail person.
Yeah.
I really want to break your kneecaps.
Yeah.
However, I had to think about it being politically correct.
Yeah.
So if you are tuned in and listening, I dare you.
Yeah.
Anyway, with that being said, I am super proud to know you and be a part of your life where I can help you on this journey, bring more, recognition to the PROTECT Act. And I love the name, the PROTECT Act, because men and women need to be protected.
Yes.
Because the bullying is one thing, but, for me, it's also the shakedown.
Yeah.
Like you threatening people, if you don't give me this money or that money, you can't get $1 out of me.
Yeah.
You know what? My thing is, go ahead, leak it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
But so what?
Yeah, that's how I reacted to my ex. I was just like, I called his bluff. And I was like, he's not going to do it, right?
Right.
And he didn't. But then who would have known this crazy hacker was stalking me for 2 years? So it's like him and like all these other people. There's crazy people out there, right? So even if it might not be that person,
right,
it's gonna be probably someone else eventually. If not that, now there's deepfake. So it's like anyone can in an instant become a victim of this. It's not just, oh, you should be careful, don't do this, don't do that.
Right.
You could be the most careful person in the world and it could still happen.
You know what? I get a lot of messages from people like, this is so and so from this big person. We want to have you on our podcast or the show. And then you have to do it through Facebook, and then you have to sign up to the. You're just trying to steal my page?
Yeah.
For what? It sounds so ridiculous. You want to steal my 400,000 people on Facebook for what?
Yeah.
So you could shake them down and make money?
Yeah.
Like, it's a disgusting world that we live. They need to pass another law for that shit.
Yeah, the catfishing and there's identity theft, catfishing, there's the harassment, there's gang stalking. Like some of these people, they put it on forums and they intentionally gang stalk like people, so it's like
what is wrong with America?
It's just all over the world. It's like sick people, they enjoy watching people suffer. Yeah, like
if I ever find a person who enjoys me suffering, I feel really bad for you.
Yeah.
Like, I feel really bad for you. Like, I'm going to ring your mother's doorbell. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? I'll be outside your house like, oh, you wanted to hurt me? Like, open the door. Because what the funniest part is? They're all weak.
Yeah.
They're all weak individuals that are getting off on hurting people because somebody hurt them.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's really, after these people are caught, they should have to go into intense therapy. Yeah. Because I will say some people are victims of their own misfortune in their world, and then, hurt people. Yeah. However, there needs to be another law passed like that. They have to get help.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, they need more than just help, because some of these people.
My answer is going to get us all arrested.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at like pedophiles, for instance, like there's no real cure, I think, for that. No matter how much help they're getting mentally, and they just
death is the only thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's just, I don't know how, even like, because even if you look at statistics, they're the only group of people that go to prison that never get rehabilitated, So it's just like, well, if that's the case, they're just going to come out and the sentencing isn't even that bad for them. So they're going to come out, do it again. And then you're going to have more victims. And a lot of countries, for the longest time, they've been putting these predators ahead of victims and children, right?
Yes.
So at what point, will they just be, in prison for a very long time,
Yeah, it's very sad. Being a survivor of marital SA and even being date raped as a young girl, I could say that the person or persons have never received the help that they need, nor will they ever be well.
Yeah.
They're already demented.
Yeah.
They're already and I'm not trying to be mean, and I'm not saying they don't deserve some sort of help, but they deserve some sort of help on an island somewhere else than our own, because we're now subjecting our children to a really terrible world.
Exactly.
A really terrible world. And you would think, like, at this stage of the game, we've already had, like, the world is hard as it is. Why do we got to make it any harder for the little ones?
Especially for kids. It's like,
right.
What about their justice? What about their rights,
Right. Yeah. So what does the PROTECT Act, what does it actually do, and what are the consequences for a person getting caught?
Okay, so basically the PROTECT Act would focus on adult sites. So it would only kind of create barriers for things to get uploaded against consent, right?
Okay.
So it would verify age and consent of everyone depicted in the videos or pictures in the content, basically.
Okay.
Right? And then the second layer is, God forbid, something already got uploaded, then they're legally enforced to have to take it down with the fingerprint stamp technology and block it from further re-uploading.
Okay.
So there's a thing called fingerprint stamp technology, which scans a video or an image ahead of time and blocks it from re-uploads. right?
Okay.
So the worst part is all of these adult sites, they already have all of this technology. Google has it, everybody has it, but they just simply don't want to use it because they're generating billions of dollars from free non-consensual content,
Oh,
so
okay. I
anyone
understand.
right now can upload anything they want with just an email address, which is just, it's just such a
It doesn't even sound right.
yeah, it's
I
like,
can't even sometimes repost a video on TikTok, and these people are
Right.
able to like post up people, whether they're sexual,
It's crazy.
nature or just like pictures.
anything. They can upload anything they want with just an email address. And for the longest time, it's been like that. But even if you backtrack and look, like, for instance, people that want to consensually do porn, they have to go in there with their IDs and their, drug test or STD test or whatever, and their consent. They have to sign the forms. They're not supposed to be under the influence. I don't know. Like, I don't know exactly how that world works, but I know that there were way more.
There's more laws
safe-
over there
Yeah, they
than
were.
we are.
Exactly. So now we have all of these people around the world, and we can just, any of us can be uploaded in a deepfake or hidden camera.
And what's a deep fake?
Deepfake is basically AI generated, so they can take a picture of you, of your face, from Facebook, Instagram, anything, right? And then they can put it on a pornographic video or image.
Well, can they make me skinny when they do it? Because, I mean, everybody's going to know that's not me.
Yeah, but like, they can do a lot of things. They can change, obviously they can put it on somebody's body that's already like has the boobs and the body or whatever else, right?
That's insane.
And then they can make it bigger, smaller. They can do whatever. They can make you even like extremely big or heavy.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That they could just take you without your permission and
Do
destroy
whatever.
your life.
Yeah, and they can do anything they want with you visually. They can even take your voice and deep fake that. So now your voice, they can scam people with just your voice.
That's scary.
It's scary. And what's happening now too is that people are being criminally charged because of this
Okay.
deep fake stuff.
So let's get into that.
Yeah, so people are going after, like, they're blaming them for these crimes, right? And
Right.
then they never even done that or been there, but their face is there and it looks
Right.
like them, and their
Right.
identity's been stolen. The list goes on and on. So there's a lot of things, damage that could be done with
Right.
deepfake and AI. And I don't think people really understand how scary AI can get into, because
Right.
there's no laws even for the hidden cams, and I mean, to hold like online platforms accountable.
Right.
Right. The safety measures for Meta and all the social media is a little bit better than the adult sites, but the adult sites are like the Wild Wild West. Like, there's no regulation. Yeah.
So AI is so I have a mob wife AI project that I work with.
Yeah.
So I watch them how they take the face. You
Yeah.
know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it looks good actually.
Yeah, thank you. You
Yeah.
take the face and you put it onto this other body, which
Yeah.
obviously I know it's not me because she's skinny.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because some of the pictures look exactly like me.
Yeah.
That you would think it really was me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the whole goal with deepfake, is to make it so believable that it's you.
Right.
But now they're doing that with like presidential stuff, with people of
Right.
influence, like
Which
they
we're
can.
seeing right
Yeah.
now because the news has been crazy with
Yeah.
certain people being charged with all these sexual crimes and left and right.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying the person's guilty or not guilty. It's really none of my business. I don't care. But I do care in the sense of that if somebody is harming a child,
Yeah,
I want it to stop
exactly.
at all costs.
Yeah.
At any cost and all costs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when you're good, that's why you have to be very conscious
Mm-hmm.
of everything that you take a photo of. And it's even scary because even if you're never put a dirty picture out, they just got to steal your face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
put
that's what's happening, unfortunately, even of children. So families, they're posting their children to Facebook. It's very innocent. They're not even thinking anything bad about it. It could
Right.
even be to people that are just family and friends.
Right.
But somehow these people, they can access that. It could even be somebody that that's
Right.
taking a picture of, a children's face. I mean,
Right.
child's face, and like adding it to like CSAM and all kinds of nasty
What's
stuff.
that?
So child sexual abuse material.
Oh, okay.
So they're doing all of
Okay.
this stuff on the dark web. It's all like it's even on the regular web. Like these people, they don't care. It's so free now that it's literally they're getting away with everything because it's not regulated.
Well, who's going to regulate this? What laws do we have to create for them to do this? Because
Protect Act.
we need more than that. We need another one. Because we're being protected as adults, but what about the children?
No, so the Protect Act would actually cover children.
Okay.
It would cover children, women, men, any kind of forms of image-based sexual abuse. So deepfake, hidden cams, revenge porn, like you name it. It would cover everything. This would focus on adult sites, but this is the first step to get it across to, all of the other pages. Luckily, like I said, Meta and like all of the social media platforms, they're better with taking it down faster.
Right.
And also being more restrictive with the uploading.
I get blocked all day long. I get shadow banned. I'm not even posting anything that's bad, but for some reason, somebody's got a hard on for me.
Yeah, it's just existing.
So you know what? So what do you get charged with, and what amount of time are you looking? Did you get to charge the person? Did you find the person that did this to you?
So the guy that hacked me, he got 1.5 years in prison. That's it. And at that point, there were only hack laws that they could go after, right? I mean, now there's revenge porn laws, but even those are very weak, and it's kind of like a slap on the wrist.
Right.
And that's if they even get charged at all. Most of these predators that are doing the revenge porn and all that kind of stuff, it's like nothing.
So could you imagine revenge porn? So you don't want to be my girlfriend anymore, so you don't want to be my boyfriend, so I'm going to put out your pictures.
Yeah.
Shit, if I put out pictures of anybody I slept with, nobody else would ever sleep with them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
How about that one?
Yeah, so
no one would ever marry my ex-husband.
Yeah.
Ever.
They'd just be like, oh my God, this guy's horrible.
They'd be like, Renee was right. Sorry, I had to put a little bit of comedy in there because it's really scary to think about the fact that that people are able to just manipulate anything that they want. It's not even, you're not even manipulating the person anymore. You're manipulating a photo, their lifestyle. You're coming for them as if we did something personally to them.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell me about the jail time that they get.
So right now, currently under like the current revenge porn laws, like I said, it's like a slap on the wrist, right? So it's not that bad. They can get, some that like fees that they have to pay, which aren't really that much, and all of those kind of things. But with the Protect Act, like I said, it's going after the adult sites, and that's where a lot of the problems are, because right now they only have you can upload anything with just an email address. Right. So even let's say if it is a predator, the predators won't even be allowed to upload it, right? Okay. So since there is already the revenge porn laws and those kind of laws, right? That's already been kind of safeguarded. Right. But the problem is once it's out there, it's so hard to get down.
It's out there. It's on a million different sites.
Exactly.
It's crazy. We don't have strong enough laws that protect us from stuff like this, because people are looking at it like, oh, well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's their problem.
Exactly. Yeah. They should have never taken that picture to begin with. But what they're not realizing is we didn't even take the pictures to begin with. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I remember the day I got that phone call. It's like, I'm going to send these pictures to your son. And I was like, listen to me, you fat fuck. Yeah. Like, straight up, send it. Yeah. Send it. Go ahead, I don't care. I'm going to call my son right now, let him know that it's going to happen. Yeah. Send it. Yeah. My son will be like, go get him, Ma. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, and what's crazy is, like, if we were to retaliate against the person that did it to us, we would pay a bigger consequence than they would.
Yes. I mean, way bigger.
You shouldn't have done that. Yeah. But they did it first. You know what I mean? I know that might sound a little immature, but at the end of the day, if you do something to me, I'm going to make sure you will never do it to somebody else.
Yeah. It's, it's crazy.
This is where I believe in, like, I know this is going to sound terrible, but I'm going to say it anyway. Like, their hands need to be broken. so they can't get on that computer and do it. Break their fingers. Break their fingers. Because that's what they have.
Yeah, it's
that's
the mob wife in you.
It is the mob wife in me. I'm sorry,
Just
America.
break their fingers.
Just break their fingers. It came out. I'm so sorry. But I believe in that.
Yeah, I mean, how would they be able to post anything if their fingers
are broken?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a good idea.
Like, what are we doing? You know, it's like, they believe in castration for pedophiles.
Yeah.
Why are we cutting off his balls? He still has hands.
Yeah.
To tie the child up, to kidnap the... Cut their fucking hands off.
Yeah.
Cut their feet off so they can't fucking walk.
Oh, wait, cutting him off now?
Yeah.
Look, I thought it was just breaking them.
No,
because
not
they can
pedophiles.
heal.
Not pedophiles.
Oh, yeah, pedophiles. But what about like a predator? Like...
Oh.
So, like, first break their hands and then chop them off?
No, because you know what? If we set an example, if we put... Listen, I know this sounds really cruel, but for a woman who has been sexually assaulted and raped, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say essay or the word R, however you got to say it nowadays.
Graped.
Graped?
Yeah, graped. Corn and grape.
Yeah. I would say if we made examples of a few people, maybe it would slow it down.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not going to stop it,
point.
but it'll slow it down.
Yeah.
And that might sound barbaric, but how many people in the old days were doing it after they got stoned or this?
Yeah, that's true.
I'm talking about protecting children.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm saying as an adult, we have to be a little bit more sensible with our choices.
Yes.
But the children are the innocent ones.
Yeah,
and I don't want to
agree.
make this like we're bashing people or stoning people. I'm basically
something
just
needs to
saying
be done.
something
Yeah.
needs to be done to protect the innocence in the world because we don't even have the innocence.
Yeah.
Our children are losing their innocence by the age. My grandson, he listens to all these videos and he sings the words and he can't even say the real word. He can't say it in public because it would be looked at like, what are you teaching your child at home?
Yeah.
All I taught him was to turn the radio on.
Yeah.
And then my grandson will pay the price for turning the radio on. Our laws are not strong enough to protect the children in this world. And I have a full-grown son, but I got 4 grandkids.
Yeah.
And I'm going to jail. I can tell you I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
You come by I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
You know, and I think there should be rehabilitation for these people.
I agree.
You know, everybody does deserve a second chance, but that second chance is the end for you. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. All right, my loves, before we get into it, I want you to think about that one person who's been there for you. You know, the one you can count on, thick, thin. Maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a family member, or heck, maybe it's even your therapist. Today's the day to give them all the thanks. And while we're at it, why don't you turn some of that gratitude inward? Because, honey, you deserve it. Let me tell you, it's not easy juggling everything life throws our way. We're always out there showing up, figuring things out, trying to stay strong. And it's easy to forget about ourselves, all in that. But this month, I want us to celebrate the people around us and ourselves. Let's give thanks for every little step we take moving forward. And that's where BetterHelp comes in. Now, if you ever thought about therapy, let me say it's a game changer. Therapy gives you the tools to handle things, to set boundaries, to breathe when everything feels like it's too much. It's not just for the big moments. It's for the day-to-day, the little things that stack up and make us who we are. And with BetterHelp, you can do it all online. No matter where you are or how busy your schedule is, all you do is fill out a quick questionnaire. And they'll match you with a licensed therapist who gets you. And if you want to switch, no problem. It's easy. Just a few clicks. So if you're ready to give yourself a little extra love and support, BetterHelp is here to make it easy. Let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/crisis today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/crisis. All right, listen up, beauties. It's your girl Renee here, and I gotta spill the tea on OneSkin. Now, let me tell you, I've tried a million skincare products in my life, and I wasn't sure how this was going to go at first. But honey, I'm impressed. This stuff, it's not just skincare. It's like turning back the hands of time on my face. So I've been using OneSkin on my face and under my eyes because let's be real, I don't always get my beauty sleep. And I'm telling you, the difference is wild. My skin feels firm, smooth, and fresh, like it got new life to it. Even though those little fine lines that I'm starting to see, they're now softer and I'm obsessed. I didn't expect it to work this well. OneSkin goes deep. This isn't just some surface fix. They're targeting the root of aging, going right to the cells. It's science, baby. They've done their research to make skin more resilient, which is what we need, right? Wrinkles gone, skin glowing. And it's so easy. Face, eye, body. I've got the whole routine now. So here's the deal. OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company. OneSkin addresses skin health at the molecular level, targeting the root causing of aging so skin behaves, feels, and appears younger. It's time to get started with your new face, eye, and body routine at this discounted rate today. Get 15% off with the code CRISIS at oneskin.co. After you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. We only have one body, one skin, and only you can choose to make it better. Age healthy with OneSkin. Growing up, did you have any trauma? Like, was this the most traumatic thing that happened in your world?
No, I mean, I had my share of trauma since the day I was born.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The first day, it was like trauma after trauma. No, but like, it wasn't that bad, but I had my share of trauma and disappointments and all of those kind of things.
Right.
And then you get to this point when you're older now and you're like, okay, well, I'm not a child anymore. You know, I can like, you know, stand up for myself and this and that. But then the whole world turns against you
when you didn't do anything.
Yeah, but like the worst part was like how the whole world, it's not just like 5 people that are just mean to you. It was literally the whole world.
Because of social media.
Yeah. And it's not just the whole world. It's like the people that you meet, anyone that you come across, even if you go out on a date, then the guy is like expecting something, like you're just this loose chick or something. And I was just like, no. So then you just end up isolating. So
you did a lot of isolating?
Yeah, and that's a part that I'm really upset at myself for because like I feel like I lost years of my life. Like the guy that did this got 1.5 years.
Right.
I got 8 years of isolation, like which was my like prison, like staying at home.
Right. Imagine being in prison and you're free.
Yeah.
You're free.
You're free
but you're
mentally.
In prison.
Yeah, like
exactly.
So it was like a mental prison, but it wasn't just a mental prison. It was actually people doing this all the time. Like anywhere you go, it would get brought up. Any guy you would date, it would get brought up. Family, friends, like
right, because you could research the person that you're dating now.
Yeah.
So God, that's probably why I'm not getting any dates.
I'm already over it. Who cares about dating? As long as you have like sanity and like peace of mind.
I believe in dating. I want to fall in love.
Yeah.
I want a healthy relationship, but I don't want it based on mob wives.
Yeah.
Or based on any TV show I've done. Or based on any ignorant choice I decided to make.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we live lives that people are looking at us sideways all the time.
All the time.
She's on mob wives. Her father's in the mafia. Okay, so my father really was in the mafia.
Yeah.
All right, so then why are you pressing my buttons?
Yeah. So like what when you see a guy and you want to date them, are they like trying to be with you because they're like, oh, she's a mob wife, she's a protector?
Yeah, you know what? That's funny that you asked that. Guys have dated me for my father.
Really?
Okay, I had like a guy friend when I was younger, and he pretended to be like my best friend. And then when he met my dad, he started hanging out with my dad and not me anymore.
Oh my God.
And that was really fucked up for me because on top of it, growing up, I was bullied very badly as a young girl. But these people became my friends just to get things, money. My father was very good for taking care of everybody. You know what I mean? So if I ever went home and said to my dad, hey, Dad, my friends can't pay their bills, my father will find a way to pay the rent to take care of things.
Yeah, that's
so
nice.
a lot. Yeah, he was a great man. You know, I miss him every single day, and I will miss him every single day until I'm with him again. But I think that a lot of people have dated me for notoriety of dating Anthony Graziano's daughter, notoriety of dating a mob wife, notoriety of dating somebody who's just out there and living life and has money to, you know, take care of a family. I've dated men that have literally robbed from me.
Wow.
Like literally, like since my father passed away, I will say there's been 2 men that have done something to me that I wish he was alive, but then the Catholic girl in me says, thank God he's not alive.
Yeah.
Because my father would be in jail for murder.
Yeah, exactly.
Dead ass. Like not even, I won't even blink an eye. You know, I've, like you, trauma was like out of the womb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I come from a household of a mom and a dad and 2 sisters, but there was always trauma.
Yeah.
You know, and funny story. So my first grade teacher told my mother, oh, there's something wrong with Renee. She's always talking about catastrophe happening. And my mother knew inside of her head, oh, because she lives a fucking crazy life. But she was like, she's making these stories up. And my mother was like, oh, yes, I'll talk to her about it.
Yeah.
But they weren't made up fucking stories.
Yeah,
they were
all
real
real
shit happening around me, you know? So.
But she's making up these crazy stories about this guy getting this and that.
All these black Lincolns pulled up in front of the house and this guy got hit with a bat. Oh, my daughter, she's so creative. She's going to be a writer one day.
You're like, but I'm telling the truth.
Right? And then it's like, and then you're like the little boy that cried wolf because I was like, stop that. Stop that.
Why are you telling everybody? You don't tell people that.
And that's a big trauma too, is what happens in the home stays in the home. Did you grow up like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I had like a little bit of everything without realizing it, like until you're older, and like you probably had this too. Like it's like this time period when you're older and now you're understanding more of everything that happened, like since like you were little till you're older, and even all the middle stages.
Yes.
Like one of the big things for me was looking back and like looking at like, okay, yeah, I isolated myself and all that stuff, right?
Right.
But that was the 8 years that I had, like, you know, a lot of drive, a lot of, you know, energy to create. And I was creating, but like literally these people that were bullying me, they were doing everything to stop me. They were like,
well, they were jealous of you, honey, because
out of the way. Yeah.
They were jealous because you were reaching a place they could never reach.
Yeah, and it's like, even with a hack, like, leave me alone. Like, you know, I was just minding my own business and just put my head down and kept working. But my biggest thing was, you know, when the hack happened, it was like, even if I wanted to go on dates or like the guys, like it could have been the best guys, but it's like there was always like this dark cloud over me.
Right.
Like,
what if?
No, like,
do they know?
Not only just the what if, it was almost like, you know, that they're gonna find out. It's just the ticking time bomb. When are they gonna find out?
Waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah, and how long is it gonna take before they figure it out?
And then they think you're this bad person, but you're not.
And like, even if you do share it, then they're still gonna look at you like that. No matter what you say. It was like I was telling the whole world my side of the story.
Right.
Just to
but
people
they didn't want to hear your side. They just wanted
to believe what they want to believe.
Right.
Yeah.
So how is dating for you now? Do you date?
No, I stopped dating.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, also because I'm kind of like, nobody came around. And you know, when you get so sharp that you can see through bullshit, then like nobody can even access that barrier, because everybody's pretty much full of shit. Yeah.
Isn't that horrible when you're too smart for your own good?
I know. It's like, that's what I was saying. Like, I almost wish I was younger so I can make like other decisions with what I know now.
Right.
But also what I'm noticing is like, with what I know now, it's like nobody can kind of access me anymore. Even with friends, I got to a point where even with friends where I would let people in, and now I'm just, even like with friends, you have to, even with that, you have to be careful.
Everybody has an ulterior motive.
Everybody,
and that's a shame.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm very grateful for you coming and sharing with me today, because there's no ulterior motive but to help people grow and know that this Protect Act is in place, and they can access it to help save their own world. Like, we got to do, you know, as a woman, and I was always very pro man. Yeah. I was not pro woman. No, I was pro. I grew up with only men around me. Even though I have 2 sisters, we also grew up with a man's mentality. So men to me were the safety. in the thing. They're the same ones that became the problem to me eventually, aside from my father. You know what I mean? This is so sad, I'm going to say this. I don't think there's ever been a man that entered my life that was really all about Renee.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, like definitely not. You know, there's some times in my life when you talk about girls get together and they're like, oh, I made love with my... I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
I was married. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
Because you're so guarded.
The guys that basically they're not really there for you.
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead. Tell me, because I don't want to be the only one that feels that way. So could you share your experience with it? Okay.
Well, the problem, I feel like now looking back with the guys that I dated, I feel like none of them were really worth my time or having access to me as a person. And I'm not talking about like, oh, I'm better and this and that. They were just never good guys.
They were never the right fit.
And what's even crazier, it could have been successful guys, broke guys, you know, guys from all walks of life. Like, it was literally like, I would look at them like, oh, I love this person. I did everything from love, you know?
Right.
They didn't do it from love.
Right.
They did it for ulterior motives, you know, and even they could say probably now, no, I really love this person, but the way they love me is the way that they're capable of loving, right?
Right. Okay,
so,
that's a good point there.
So even if they were loving me in their way, with all of themselves or whatever, like every way that they thought they were loving me.
Right.
They never worked on themselves. They never knew what love was. And, you know, even with me, I didn't work on myself. So it was just like, it's just like two people. We're just like, oh, you know.
Cohabitating and like not getting to where you want to be.
Yeah.
So do you say that you did in the 8 years that you were isolating, did you do the work around you to make you heal?
Yes. So actually after that, I was doing the work then, but after when COVID happened, which I think probably everybody and their mother after COVID happened, they started looking at everything differently.
Correct.
Right? So after COVID happened, I started realizing even more stuff. So it obviously happened before, but it's like a continuing kind of process, like with discovering yourself and like figuring things out and learning more about decisions that you have made or your situation or why you did this, that, whatever, right? So after COVID, it was like this weird thing that happened to me. Like I couldn't drink alcohol anymore or caffeine.
Right.
Like I think it was like a spiritual awakening. Even though I had like a couple of those, I feel like. But it's like you can have several, I think.
Yes, you most certainly can. Yeah. That's called growth.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
You put it in such a good wording.
We're growing out here.
Yeah, we're evolving, right?
Yes, those beautiful flowers.
Yeah, like a butterfly. A beautiful butterfly. So, I just kept like learning more about myself. But then even just like a year ago, I feel like it's still happening because even with this Protect Act situation, right? We got to a point where I spent $350K of my own money on just like focusing on this, right?
Okay.
So I took my savings. I really dedicated all my time into this. And like I would call senators, be on, Zoom calls with different people and doing this, doing that, doing all this stuff for different nonprofits, helping them, helping survivors one-on-one. Like I would call them, talk to them, connect them to the right people.
Right.
And then it got to a point where I was just like, okay, the nonprofits aren't happy. They're like not really appreciating anything. The survivors is like, yeah, you might help people. Some might appreciate it, some might not. But there's just so much trauma, that like, you can only help so much, right? You can help with the takedowns. You can help direct them to therapy, and all of the stuff that my nonprofit Foundation Raw does is actually helping a lot of survivors, right?
Right.
So I did all that, but then I'm starting to discover like, oh my God, the nonprofits, a lot of them, they're getting all this funding and they're not even actually doing what they're supposed to.
So they're not executing the funds into the proper places where that can help people that are going through the things that you have or the things that I've experienced.
Exactly.
As well.
And a lot of them, they're doing this whole like, oh, we did it, guys. We did this new thing. And then we did that, and it's actually not them doing any of it. It's they're just taking credit for other people's work and making it seem like they did all this great work so that they can get more, funding.
Right.
And everybody's donating to these big nonprofits thinking, oh my God, these big nonprofits are amazing. But some of the worst people I've met have been in the nonprofit world.
Do you have your own
nonprofit?
What is the name of yours?
So it's called Foundation RA, which means the sunshine, know?
Okay.
So it basically helps people get free takedown services, right?
Okay.
So they could do facial scans and figuring out like anywhere you ever been posted, they could take those down. It provides you with like lawyers, law enforcement, the correct ones that are not gonna victim blame and shame.
Right.
And also like therapy and resources for all around the world. Like even if you're not in the US, you can figure out in your country where you can go. And then I also created an international coalition to help tackle this. So Canada, for instance, they have their version of the Protect Act, which is called the CISE Act.
Okay.
And it's pretty much the same kind of concept, right? And that's moving forward too now. So Canada has their own version, like UK and a bunch of other countries, they're all coming on board with like this whole cause, you know?
I'm
so yeah,
so happy
it's
to
great.
hear that.
But we need it all around the world because even if we pass it in the US.
We're going all around the world, honey. So you tell them anything you want them to know.
Yeah, well, we need like laws all across the world. Like I try to reach out to UN. That's why I'm like, you know what? UN isn't working too well. So I'm going to do my own international coalition.
Well, God bless you.
You know, so that's what's going on now. But with that being said, I got burnt out at one point with discovering all these things. But now I'm like, okay, I just gotta refocus where my energy goes, right?
Right.
So now I'm focusing more on my own nonprofit. I'm, focusing on the right things and not doing like one-on-one calls with everybody.
No, that gets very draining. So you can pass anybody you need to me. Believe it or not, I'm a life coach.
Okay, but that's
Believe
good.
it or not, I am a life coach, and I would be willing to help you in any way possible.
Yes.
Because you're saving somebody's life.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, but you're saving that girl or that guy that wants to kill themselves because their business ended up, on the internet.
Yeah.
In every country under the sun that doesn't have the laws that you're getting passed.
Yeah.
So I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Truly am. Yeah,
and that's the part that makes me feel like good about the cause, and want to move forward because it's just such a dense topic and like to be in it and like also I've experienced it.
Right.
And then to like, you're basically, I'm very motivational. So I try to pull everybody up with me,
Right.
and everybody is not ready for that. And then you have to give them the space and the time, So it's just kind of like just accepting things for what it is.
Right.
Helping them as much as you can with takedown or whatever else. If it saved lives, great, but here's also therapy, here's this, that. And then they'll be on their way. But everybody needs to do their own work, right? So
yeah, everybody has to put the time in and the work in.
Yeah.
Because I know for me, if I wasn't when I wasn't putting the work in, I was getting the same result.
Yeah.
I was still failing.
Yeah.
So until I made a conscious decision to say, hey, I have to work on this part of Renee.
Yeah.
For only Renee. Or this part of Renee for my family. Like it's not just working on you for you. You have to work on you for others at times too. So I commend you for it tremendously.
Thank you.
So I want to switch gears and talk about your movie.
Okay.
I want people to get to know you, this you, not all of the others, just about your movie. So could you tell me some?
Yeah, okay. So Hacked Film is basically a little bit of my story, and then it's also fiction.
Okay.
It's a short film, and then basically, like I said, it got 20 awards, which is great.
Right.
But it has a little bit of my story, but then it goes into fiction. So I can't say too much because then it will reveal the whole thing.
Right. So where can people find the movie?
So right now it's on Looku or Look-Who. It's an app
that has... Look-Who. Like L-O-O-K...
No, L-O-O-K-H-U. So
Okay.
you can find this on like every app store, and you can
Okay.
download it to your TV or whatnot. But I'm gonna actually add it to YouTube, I believe,
Well,
as
I'm
well.
going to put it on. It'll be in the
Yeah.
link so people that are watching this
Yeah.
can also have access to
Yeah.
it as well.
I think I'm gonna do it on YouTube, and then people can like watch it or like rent it or something from there. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that will be a good way to kind of get some awareness.
Okay.
You know, on like ways that this could happen. Obviously, hacking is one way, but now we're already on to so many other ways, right? So
Right.
yeah.
So do you want to do more acting?
Yes, I want to do more acting. That's how I started, was acting.
Okay.
And I don't know how I ended up here. Like,
Because that's your journey. That's
Yeah.
your journey. We needed a strong voice
Yeah.
like yours to help save some lives out
Yeah.
here. So tell me
Thank
more
you.
about what you want to do. Let's hear the fun, exciting, positive side
Yeah.
of where you are in life right now.
okay, so I don't know if anybody noticed, but I was doing like comedy before. Yeah, so then I started doing my comedy again because, like I said, this is such a dense topic, and I was just like, oh my God, every story is like really sad and da da.
Right.
So I'm like, you know what? I need to pick up my comedy again. I'm not smiling anymore. My whole face is like going downwards. Like I miss smiling and using my cheeks and my muscles here.
Right.
You know? So I started doing the comedy, and then my creativity came back and all of that. So I love being creative. And also I wrote like pilots and feature films.
Amazing.
There's one feature film that I wrote that took me years, but it's based on Egyptian queen. Her name is Hatshepsut.
Okay.
And this one is, I mean, it's all based on real stories and like history, right?
Okay, so tell me about her.
Okay, this is the most spectacular like queen of all times, like way bigger than Cleopatra. Like Cleopatra got inspired by her.
Okay.
So she was the ruler of Egypt, right, for 20 years. The first woman that became pharaoh, you know? And she took on that role. She was very successful. She got into trading and made Egypt richer than it's ever been, right?
Okay.
And then she had this like stepson that was supposed to take the throne, but he was too young when, you know, it was about to happen. He was only like 2 or 3 years old, right?
Right.
So then he gets older, and then all of these things happen between them. But yeah, basically he tried to erase her from history.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I think she had one son or two sons.
So she had one daughter that was
Okay.
actually hers, and then
Okay.
she had a stepson
Okay.
that wasn't hers, but she kind of like took him on, you know?
Right. So if I'm correct, there was something between the two brothers, right?
No, so like the daughter, I think like the daughter and the stepson, there was some animosity
Okay,
kind of thing,
okay.
because what if the daughter gets the throne instead of him, but he was supposed to get the throne, but now
Okay.
Hatshepsut kind of took it because he was too young. So it's all this back and forth kind of thing, but in the script it's like explaining everything. And what's so crazy is that they try to erase her from history, but like these archaeologists 4,000 or 5,000 years later, they discover that she's the one who did all of this stuff. So he went out of his way trying to erase her, like destroy statues, monuments, erasing her name from hieroglyphs, like going out of his way to completely take credit for everything, destroy her legacy, everything. And then all these years later, 4,000 or 5,000 years, archaeologists like, oh, it was her thing, you know, the whole
Right,
time, right?
right.
And the truth comes out all these years later. And then also he created this monument next to hers. And anyone that's been to Egypt, if they went to Luxor, they probably went there. It's called Hatshepsut's Mortuary Temple. I mean, it's beautiful, like way ahead of its time. Like it looks modern kind of for that time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And he created this monument next to hers that were bigger, like look more established and this and that. But throughout all this time, you know, earthquakes and things that happen, his whole monument fell down to the ground.
And hers is still there.
Yeah, hers is still standing.
Oh,
Isn't that
I love
beautiful?
that. It is. It is.
And yeah, it's just so crazy. So I was studying her for years, and I was like, why is nobody talking about her? So I wrote a whole script about it.
Okay.
And but yeah, I need a couple millions.
I might know some movie people.
Yeah.
I might know some. Absolutely. That
Yeah.
sounds super interesting. And it's, again, uplifting women.
Yes,
So thank you
yes.
for that, too. Because women, because we are the way we are, we'll walk behind the man to make the man feel stronger. But I think, my guest before you today said that he doesn't know why we keep referring to God as a man. When he said when he did ayahuasca,
Yeah.
and it was a woman.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's because we run this show.
Yeah, I mean, even if you think about it, like Mother Earth, you plant into just a seed. You plant the seed into the ground. It grows you a tree with all these fruits on it. Like, it always gives back tenfold. Women are the same way. You just give us the bare minimum and we give you so much back, right?
Right.
But it's like, I don't know what happened. Like, it's years of just kind of not really appreciating women. I don't know what's going on, but something along the way, it's like women are just being walked all over and this and that. And now I think women are waking up,
right,
and they're taking their power back. So yeah, I mean, it's been done for centuries now. So
well, I'm excited to see this film, and I want to thank you again for coming on today. You've been a wonderful guest. You're absolutely stunning, so smart, and I support your Protect Act all the way.
Thank you so much. I
You're
appreciate
very welcome. You got it.
Yeah.
This is Renee Graziano for the Crisis Queen podcast. Make sure you tune in next week for another amazing guest.